Hello, welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts. Today we have very important subjects. It's all about spinal mobility and spinal health and working on your spinal flexibility so you can increase your quality of life and utilize your spine to its full potential, being able to go into all kinds of movement patterns that your body requires. And additionally, all kinds of movement patterns that you require to have fun and to get stronger, healthier, better, and overall just being happier, because having a healthy body will lead to having a happier life. And when it comes to the body, there is almost no structure as important as our spine. Our spine initiates all kinds of movements, starting with the most basic, like walking and moving to some of the movements that has helped us evolve to the level that we are at right now, just like throwing, which goes through spinal rotation and uses all the connected musculature to produce force. If it wasn't for that, our hunter-gatherer times would have been very short and very unsuccessful. However, we're not hunter-gatherers anymore, and most people do not actively work on their spine, even though they spend most of the time either seated on a desk in a somewhat unhealthy position or sleeping most of the times on their side, which is already so unhealthy, giving us shortness and stiffness in every single muscle because all of our joints and all of our musculature are contracted and shortened. There is almost no better example for the subtlety of movement in the spine than there is with cats. You can almost consider them fluids more than anything else, and that subtlety has helped them become some of the most effective predators on the planet. Able to utilize your spine to get you into different positions that generate a lot of force and a lot of strength can help you with all kinds of things, be it fitness, workout wise, or even just overall quality of life. And the cat-cow pose switches is one of the most effective ones in helping you mobilize your entire spine, going through spinal extension and working through spinal flexion, lengthening your shoulders, pushing your pelvis forward, flexing that entire spine, and pulling your stomach in for more core engagement, and then switching it up into spinal extension. And the combination of both will help you at the very least activate all the muscles surrounding your spine, even if you don't take it any further and just go through spinal flexion and extension, even though we have a lot of different movements like lateral flexion and extension, spinal rotation, and all kinds of movements that we can combine to not only be more mobile and limber, but to stay healthy and keep our spine healthy. So after learning how to mobilize our entire spine in one single movement, we should start working on mobilizing different parts separately. For instance, being able to switch between extension and flexion in your lower spine without moving your thoracic spine. The same goes for the opposite, being able to flex and extend your thoracic spine without moving your lumbar or lower spine. And that takes a lot of control and a lot of relaxation. Now, once you're done with what I like to call this segmental work, we can move on to spinal rotations. Now, there are different ways to get into spinal rotation, especially depending on if you want more lumbar or more thoracic spinal rotation. You want to include your entire spine, you want to include your neck, or you don't. That totally depends on you, but we can start by basically just sitting down and using leverages. So, right arm crossing over the left leg and leveraging our upper body into more and more spinal rotation. It's really helpful in these situations to also brace your core and include your diaphragm when it comes to your breathing, meaning when you breathe out, extending your stomach, which is going to help you stretch out the surrounding musculature a little bit more. And then when you breathe out, contracting like the vacuum poses of the bodybuilders of old. This is going to help you not only brace your core even more, but get deeper into a stretch for the surrounding tissue. And of course, we want to repeat everything into both directions because we don't want to end up having too much imbalances. So when you breathe in, extend, stretch out even more. And when you breathe out, pull in, contract, and vacuum all in. While this one is more complete spinal rotation, we can also work on partial spinal rotation and even do it in a passive way. If you get into this position, use your arm to thread the needle, as I like to call it. Bring your shoulder and your hand in full contact with the ground. We already have a little bit more thoracic rotation. Pushing your pelvis back more, we're going to have a little bit more flexion and rounding here. And once we open up with the other arm, now we have a little bit more thoracic rotation. And we're also including our lumbar spine, not only in the flexion, but also in the rotation part. And once you turn your head upward to complete the spinal rotation, now we have a little bit of a passive stretch. Then we can hold. That's going to keep us in this position much easier instead of having to use brute force. Also, switching between deep squats, like so, where we go into full spinal flexion, rounding our back, and switching from here into pike or forward folds to get a nice stretch in our entire back musculature will also help us work dynamically on our spinal mobility, as well as increasing the rest of our body's flexibility as well. This will also teach us to activate specific muscle groups on demand and on command. Being able to use more range of motion in your spine will definitely help you use more range of motion in other parts of your body, because relaxation in general is one of the best indicators of if you will be able to stay and become flexible, or if you will be rigid and stiff all the time. Of course, starting the pike or forward fold from a standing position and rounding our back vertebrae for vertebrae separately, controlled and on command, is also a great way to start learning how to utilize and maximize your spinal work. This will start out without weights and over time can become a Jefferson curl with more and more and more load. Because believe it or not, even when we're working on something that feels so fragile, like the spine, it turns out that working with loaded mobility and loaded strengthening exercises are always of benefit, because in the ideal body and a healthy body, your spine is not as fragile as you believe it to be, and in fact it is there to protect and not to be protected. With that said, the best thing you can do is actually play around a little bit and find out which positions feel the most relaxing for you and the most beneficial for you, and also the ones that make the most fun. You can use mobility work and mobility drills. You can use yoga if that is your thing. You can work only with strength and loaded exercises if this is the thing you prefer. But whatever it is, just try and find out what it is that you enjoy, because this will help you keep up a routine and build a healthy routine to heal your spine, to keep it healthy, and in conjunction to keep the rest of your body healthy, happy, and strong as well. As for which exercises you definitely should do, well, there isn't a consensus on that. I can guarantee you that doing, for instance, cat and cow will be absurdly helpful in keeping your spine healthy. The same goes for deadlift, which is basically the opposite of doing mobility work and bodyweight flexibility work. What's also really helpful is just going through as much rotational exercises as you can to increase that mobility, and what's even more important, to work on the things that connect to our spine, which means having looser hip flexors will help you release tension in your lower spine and in your lumbar spine. Having looser glutes will help you release tension in your spine as well. The same thing goes for shoulder mobility, chest and abdominal mobility. Being able to stretch all of these out will help you release all kinds of tension around your spine that you didn't know you had. And that's really helpful. Sadly, however, this is all the time I have left for you today. I still have a little bit of work to do. However, if you are looking for specific exercises or you have a specific problem, just drop a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. With that said, like the video, subscribe and check out other videos because we have new ones on this channel every single day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Captain Cairo. Peace out.